Today you can watch me make my Christmas special for the year 2021. As soon as I saw the close shaker domes, I went Christmas tree. And naturally I've made a beautiful gift bag for it as well, because in Karinland presents are beautifully wrapped. Hey, welcome back to Karin's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm proud to show you this year's Christmas special. At the end of today's video I will put a link to last year's Christmas special. You can see if I have progressed or not. And I'm going to start with the shaker dome. And the second part of the video is on how I made this very beautiful gift bag. So let us start with the shaker dome. I usually make a tree ornament for my Christmas special, and these are the shaker domes. You could use them flat, but I've decided to adhere them together to create my ornament. And I've also used the cloche dies, in particular this one and the trees, and of course the classic cloche set. These go together, and I'm using the village here. I'm going to stamp and then die cut it, and I'm going to stamp off, and I'm using Misty Moonlight Cinnamon Cider, and I'm using my Daffodil Delight to colour the windows. What you could see me do is I use the cotton bud to remove some of the ink of the windows, and then the windows are without any ink, and you can use your blender pen, not your blender pen, your Stampin' Blend, to colour them as if there is light on in the houses. I also want some Wink of Stella, but first I'm going to die cut this. So this is ready. I'm putting it over here. And now for the back of the element. This, I can show you the front again. And this is the back where I've created the trees. Now I've already die cut the same shape, but then in Misty Moonlight, and you're turning it over because you want them to fit together like that. Not going to turn it over. You use it the same, but you stick the trees on this end, so that when you stick them together, this church top thingy doesn't stick out, you see, otherwise it'll have a funny look, especially from this end. So you use it, you flip it over, and then you stick your trees on that side. I've used the trees which are in the same die set, and you cut this twice. And I've cut in basic white, here you can see that, and I've coloured them with my blends with Just Jade, the light and the dark. I just liked the variegated look of the colour, so you just take your blender pen, and I normally do this on a piece of plastic, otherwise you'll be colouring your grid paper as well, which is a waste of ink, I think. Then you just use your dark one to go over these cut bits to create the look of the tree. And then I'm going to stick them on here using my mini glue dots. I had to stop there for a minute because, believe it or not, that was the UPS delivery man with my order. So I'll continue. I'm going to adhere these little trees, which I've now coloured with my blends, to the piece of Misty Moonlight that I've already cut, and I'm using my mini glue dots for this. You could see me use mini dimensionals for the last two for the extra depth. And now I'm going to show you how I put my little cutouts on the inside, right in the middle of the shaker dome. And for that I've used a stamped image of the stamp set, and I've taken my cellophane bags and cut them down, and then cut in half a 4x4 piece of cellophane bag. This is going to be the middle of the dome. I'm attaching it to make sure it doesn't slide away on me. And now I can put this thing over and stick it down onto the cellophane. I'm using my Seal Plus for that, a strong adhesive. And now I can take one half of a shaker dome, remove the backing paper, and then stick this over my image, and I'm using what I stamped as a guide, and then stick it down, push down, make sure it adheres well. Now I'm going to cut away the excess cellophane. Where are my snips? It's easier if you do your cutting before you stick the other half on. And now for the tricky bit, you want to stick the other half on top and make sure that all the edges align, all the edges match. So I'm starting at the bottom and then I'm looking for the top, and then I push down. And again, I'm making sure that it adheres well. And now for the messy bit. The gilded leafing. This is just about the messiest product I've ever worked with. It's gorgeous, but do not cough, do not sneeze, do not laugh, because there'll be gold leaf everywhere. And the beeps you may have heard in the background, that's the dishwasher, which indicates it has finished. So I'm removing the backing. Now these outer edges are sticky as well, and I'm pushing them into the gold leafing. And then using my fingers to make sure everything is covered well. If I feel some sticky bits still, I can put more gold leafing on top. And then I'm going to remove all the excess gold leafing, and I'm using a brush for that and a stamping sponge. Okay, now I'm going to use my piercing tool, and I'm going to pierce a hole in the very top on either end. Make sure my hole is large enough, so push your pen in far enough, and then I can use my gold trim. And I don't suggest you try and do this like this, because you'll never be able to find the other end. Just use a needle, a darning needle. I've added 5 stars and a bow to one end of the ornament, and these little stars are from the Christmas tree dies, and I've die cut them on some adhesive sheets so that they're easier to stick down. And I'll show you how I made the bow with the gold trim. I'm going to see if my bow is roughly the same size, and it is, so snip it off, and I'm using a mini glue dot to stick it down. And it's too big, so I'm folding it in half so that I end up with a half moon shape, which I attach to the bow and then stick it on. And then if your ends are too long, you can snip them, and that is your tree element finished. Cute, isn't it? Now then, I'm putting it over here, and I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful little gift bag for it. I've used the painted Christmas paper, and I'm using the double-stitched satin ribbon in real red for the handles, and I'm using the tailor-made tags for the tag, obviously, and I've used this one. I'm going to stamp it. The tissue paper inside is the, I think it's called the Ever Eden cotton paper. Yes, you just take 2 pieces of 6 by 6 inches, which you adhere together. I'll just use my seal for that, just a bit of seal. Oh, adhered my finger instead of well, it is sticky slightly, so you just put it one on top of the other, and then you can fold your element around it, but I'll show you how I did that later. This paper is, let me just check my notes, over here. It is 10 inches by 5 1/4, and what you have left of the 12-inch side is, I used that scrap for the back of the label. So 10 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to score this long side top at 1 1/2, 4 3/4, and I forgot to tell you, but as always, all the measurements, all the information you need is to be found on my blog, and the link is below. So it was 4 3/4, and then 6 1/4, and 9 1/2. And then with the short side top, you score at 1 inch and 4 1/4. If you have the narrow bit to the right, this is the top and this is the bottom. Now, first I'm going to put down my tear and tape. You may think that I put the tear and tape in some odd places, but I did it for a reason, and I'll show you later. This is going to be the glue flap. This is going to be the front of the bottom flap, and this is the back. So these are the side flaps, which you just the side flaps you can wedge, but the front and the back flap you cut up straight. It may not be easily visible because of the paper, but I can show you in a minute. See, the small bits are the side flaps and the larger rectangles are the front and the back flap, and if I fold it in, I'll show you, you can wedge this side flap and this one too. So your bottom looks like this. You do essentially the same thing to the top. This one you can cut away and you wedge. And here you're going to cut away just the score line. So you stay very close to the score line and just snip it away. See, this is just a really tiny wedge, really tiny. So just cut to the right and to the left, and then you end at the point, and there we go. Now I want to make some holes in the top of my bag for my ribbon, and for that I'm going to put a pencil mark at 3/4 of an inch from a score line. So here's my score line, you can see that here. So that's 1 to 3/4 of an inch, and then just a pencil line across this score line. And here as well, it's on the score line, you see, so 1, 2, 3. And here is the score line, so that's where I put my pencil mark. And here as well. Now I'm folding over these flaps and I'm using my daisy punch to punch these holes. You see, at the top there's just this one petal, and you can slide it over and then look for the pencil mark and just barely punch away a bit. Go to the next pencil mark and punch. And here as well, it's a bit difficult to see this one, is it? Yeah, it is there. Yes, it is. Okay, so for this one, it's better visible at this end because there's no darkness on the paper. So turn over your paper if you couldn't see it. And the last one. Okay. Now you have these holes, you see? Okay, then you need your ribbon, 2 6-inch pieces. So I'll just measure out 6 inches and snip, snip. If I measure at this end of the paper, you can see what I'm doing because my other measurement is down towards the bottom. Now then, I'm going to push my ribbon through, and I'm using my scoring tool for that. Then I'm making sure that my ribbon is turned the right way and push through again. And again, making it flat. And then you make sure that your ribbon sticks out equally far both ends, something like this. Then you can remove the backing paper fold down the flap and stick your ribbon down, and I'm going to repeat that on this end. Right, then now I can attach this flap first, and I'm leaving that one for a minute. I'll show you why. Wait for that. Okay, so your top flap is stuck down now. Then you can fold it over and remove the backing here, and fold this edge over. And you see here you have this glue flap. So when you leave that flap till last, you can fold it over and it has a beautiful finish there as well. Just let me get... Now then, where I put the tear and tape in a U shape, that's the front, so I'm folding in the two side flaps, and then first I do the back flap. Look from the top and make sure that you have straight edges, and then you can do the front flap, and again from the top you look for the straight edges. Make sure the bottom sticks, and then you can take your bag and push in with your finger halfway through, and then there's no need to score the sides, just pinch it, and then your bag has some shape. Then the two pieces that I prepared before, I want the shiny sides out, so I'm putting my tree element in, just folding up this, and then you can push it in, and it looks like a real gift bag. Now for the label, I'm using the same stamp set, the classic cloche, and I'm using real red ink. Now with these labels you get those little reinforcement things which I've already cut, and you see I've cut plenty more because I'm going to be making more of these elements, and I've also cut them on some adhesive sheet so that they're easy to attach, and I'm using my tweezers for that so I can get a good look where my hole is. One for the back. Don't forget to adhere your die cut piece of designer series paper. I see I have quite inky fingers, okay. Then all you have to do is look for the front of the bag. This is the front, and I'm going to attach my label, and well, you don't need much, I suppose about 4 inches, I'm not sure. Just tie it on. I suppose it's a bit more than 4 inches. Here. If I measure it, let me just think. Well, 4, 4.5, 5 if you like. And then you just tie a knot. And there you have your Christmas gift finished. Ah, I was looking for it. Well, if you liked my project, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps me grow my channel. And do leave me a comment or a question that you may have, because I love to hear from you. And I'm happy to show you these videos. The top one is for the Christmas special, last year's Christmas special. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.